Awesome.
So we've got Joanne from Ireland, we've got Kathy from Abilene, Texas, and we've got Caitlin from Frisco, sort of Frisco. When are you moving?
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I know. I'm excited. Yeah.
Wait a couple more minutes and see if anybody else shows up. But yeah, you guys been sending some emails to try and get people signed up for classes? Who's sending emails?
I do send emails. It's not my best thing. I'm excited for this call to kind of get some. Oh, y'all, I have my kids here. This is gonna be crazy. Yeah, I need some tips. It's not my best thing.
Oh, I see Jessie from Ohio. Is that how you say? You say your name, Jessie, right? Can you hear me, Jessie?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Your video just. Oh no, there you are. Ooh, look at that. You're in the.
Oh my God, in the background. Sorry, girls.
Nice. Do you want to introduce? We're just kind of, as people are popping up, people are introducing themselves. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jessie Anderson. I'm Dayton, Ohio, and I own a sewing studio called Needle, Ink, and Thread. I'm former co-owner of Sew Dayton. We were open for 4 years, and we taught mostly.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see. Let's just jump into it. And as people join, we can have them introduce themselves. I'm Megan. I'm in Jersey City right now. I have a studio in Hoboken. I teach sewing classes to kids and adults. And I've started this little community called Academy to unite people who teach sewing. So that's what these calls are about. Thanks for joining us. And we've got Joanne from Ireland. Introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Joanne. I'm from Ireland. I met Megan through Soul Fun Studios. So we opened our studio here in Ireland about how many weeks ago? Not long, a few weeks ago. And it's just crazy at the moment because I'm in the very beginning stages of Soul Fun Studios. So it's a little bit, I'm just eager to learn from all of you ladies. That's what I'm here for. I want to learn and learn and learn. So that's me.
But you're also doing it currently. So we want to, you've jumped right in. Like a lot of the So Fun people, I'm just so impressed at how you kind of were like, I'm doing this, and then all of a sudden 2 days later you're teaching your class and just sort of jumping in. So that's really exciting. All right, next up we've got Kathy, who's in Abilene, Texas.
Hi. Yes, So Fun Studios here in Abilene, Texas. Kind of like all of us, it feels like, even though we're not exactly remote because we're not connected with each other. I mean, we're not in the same place. So this is really fabulous. And I actually have had So Fun Studios for just about a year now, and had a strong summer, having a really sad fall, but excited and encouraged for the future, and a really great opportunity to meet with you ladies, because I think that this is going to not only give us the opportunity to teach and share with each other, but to support each other as things can be difficult. Because I still feel like I'm just starting out.
Awesome. All right. All right, and we've got Caitlin who keeps stealing the video because her audio keeps popping up.
I'm gonna try. Can you mute me or something?
It's all good. Maybe when you're not talking, if you hover on the screen, there's a little mute button in the left-hand corner. If you want, don't worry about it.
I need to do that. You're gonna be
I'd
great.
rather have you here than not here because you have your kids today. All right. Introduce yourself, Caitlin.
Okay, so I'm in Frisco, Texas, and had So Fun about a year as well. I went to training with Miss Megan, and it's pretty good. We had an awesome summer. Fall is kind of weird for me as well. Like, my classes are going really well. Other stuff is kind of, I don't know, parties and stuff are kind of weird. I always think that when I don't have a bunch of parties booked. But anyway, it's great. I'm so excited to talk about email marketing. It's not my best ever thing. So,
all right. Okay, so I did send around a list of questions about email marketing, so I figured we could kind of jump right into that. Who is using it currently, and what email platform are you using to send your emails about classes? Anybody want to start?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm using MailChimp at the moment. So I started using it about 3 weeks ago. I'm still finding my feet. I've had a couple of bookings, but I'm using my existing database that I created through the kids' summer camps. So I have all the email addresses from, all the summer camps and stuff, and any birthday parties that I've hosted, I have email addresses. So I just add them all in there, and every time somebody phones, even with an inquiry, I'm like, I'll send you over the email, I'll send you over the information that we just spoke about by email. So I'll get their email address always and add it every time. It's like, just to recap on our conversation, when really I'm adding them straight to MailChimp, just so I have them there and they get all of the information then about our workshops or whatever's coming up in the calendar, But I find MailChimp is really easy to use. It's difficult to set up. I don't know if any of you have used it. It's really difficult. Like the next button, the icon for next to get to the next page is down in the corner and you can't even see it. And I spent about half an hour. I just couldn't see it, and it's like down in the corner. So once you figure that those little things out, it's fine. It really is user friendly.
And then the cool thing about MailChimp is I believe up to 2,000 people is free, right? You can have it in there for free. So I've used MailChimp for probably the last 4 years. I actually switched over to something different recently that I'll talk about, but MailChimp I think is really great when you don't have to pay for it. And the other thing I was gonna ask you on birthday parties, I've always found it really uncomfortable to put out a mailing set up. So guests at the party, there's not one parent that is going to sign up for my mailing list at a birthday party. What is your experience in doing that?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done that either now.
Okay.
No, I haven't. But I do find that when the kids go home, like a half an hour after the party, 2 or 3 parents are on the phone straight away.
Gotcha.
My child was just there, and then even if I get 2 or 3 email addresses out of the party, that's a bonus, But I don't do that either. I have to be honest. My husband is on at me all the time. But it's just people are like, no, I don't have an email address. They do just don't want.
It's
don't want another
time to ask for it. You could ask for it any other time, and they'd be like, "Yeah, this is great. Sign me up." But this birthday party, there's this weird wall. Does anybody have any luck, Caitlin? Do you do that? Because I know you do a lot of birthday parties. Do you find that you can do that?
For me,
I do not. I just give. I give out cards, and that's it.
Okay. So that's good. Okay. She's just muted herself. Oh my God, that's hilarious. What about you, Jessie? What do you do as far as getting email addresses? Do you have any great secrets?
I have a waiver that everybody has to sign to be able to take the class. And then on the waiver, it actually says they give the email address and the phone number. And then on the waiver, just so I have that checks and balance, because in the US, we have to make sure we have the opt-in location on our email. So they have to know where they signed up for it. We can't just add people in. I have that as one of the lines. Do you want to be added to the newsletter? And that gives them the option yes or no. And even if it's a birthday party, the parent still has to fill it out.
Yeah. Because
I don't want to be liable for them getting possibly injured on an iron or a needle or a pen or anything. So I make sure they sign that. And then if they don't fill it out, I just you want to be on the newsletter? And then, sometimes yes, sometimes no. And either way is fine. Yeah. But they'll just put yes.
I don't do a waiver for birthday.
Neither do I, but I have to, I think.
Well, because we also have for social media, we have the waiver at the bottom that says if we're allowed to use their photos or not.
Right.
Because we have a lot of parents that are teachers or they're in private schools, and just that option of, you know, if they don't want their kids in the photo, we just make sure we take the, well, now it's me. Make sure, I'm so used to saying me, sorry. I take the photo with, I kind of crop the kid out.
Gotcha.
So that they don't think they're not getting in the photo, but that way they're still having fun with everybody else. So.
Good point. Yeah, I think for birthday parties, I tend to just not post it. Photos from the birthday parties because I haven't really gotten my act together enough to create some sort of waiver. But that's a great idea because it has the added bonus of getting some email addresses from the parents, and protects yourself from, like you said, you know, any sort of liability, I guess. It's funny because, yeah, I don't know how it works. I'm going to obviously have insurance at my studio and insurance for anywhere I have a class or event. But yeah, it's probably good to have a double up. So that's actually a really good tip. Awesome.
I can forward it too if you want. I can forward my waiver to you, and then you can adjust it if you want.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then I can share it with everybody. That would be great. Thank you.
Megan?
Yeah.
So Fun Studios also offered us a waiver.
Yeah.
That has, you know, the photo release, and I don't know that it has an email into the website. I don't think it does, but it does have that email. I'm sorry, the photo release and the, you know, hold harmless and all of that. And every person that walks into my studio that sits, uses sewing machine, signs that waiver before they do anything else, including adults. I always have them sign it as well.
Okay, cool. Can you add an email address field to it? Maybe just recreate it in Word or something?
I would definitely need to recreate it, which
yeah.
I need to do anyway. So yeah, but I do definitely. And so is that what you guys are talking about? Is that what?
I think that's similar, yeah, to what she's talking about. Yeah, and just by adding that email address field to it, and if you're uncomfortable with just not having anything about, you know, I would add, would you like to be added to our mailing list, and a little checkbox, just so you're not adding anybody that doesn't want to be on it. Right. But I think for the most part, people will check it, you know, if they like what you're doing, and especially if they're impressed by what, you know, just took place at the birthday party, they'd probably want to be on your list.
And actually with the summer camps and all of that, had a lot of people of how do we stay in touch? How do we know what's going on? And so this is a really great opportunity to learn about today.
Yeah. Hey, and the other thing I just thought of, it's a great way to segment your list. I know I don't have a huge list. It's probably about 2,500 people on it, but I've not been good at all about segmenting between adults and kids. And I know I have a lot of crossover. I have a lot of parents that come to kids classes and then they sign up for my adult classes. So they kind of cover both. But if I'm sending like a specific kids class email, I know I'm getting a lot of, and I've gotten replies. And they're usually pretty polite. They're like, hey, I don't have any kids. I don't know why I keep getting these emails about kids sewing classes. And it's because I haven't segmented my audience. And that's the other thing that I'm trying to do with my new email marketing provider is segment it a little bit more to be able to hit only the people I want to hit with the message. So that's a good way, I think, to know if you're taking the waivers from a birthday party, you know, those are kids, you know, email addresses for kids stuff versus sending them everything, I guess. So, okay, cool. One of the other ways that I've just started accumulating email addresses is on my website, and not just I don't know if you've noticed when you go to a website now, there's always that pop-up box that says, hey, do you want to be on our list? Or, hey, do you want 10% off a sewing class? Or, hey, whatever that offer is a great way to accumulate email addresses from your website. And for me personally, the thing that I just started doing that's working really well is I added a plugin. I have a WordPress hosted website, and it's a plugin that I've added called Mail Munch. And I don't want to get too technical today because I don't know if you all do your own websites, but it captures email addresses from people that come onto my website and adds them directly to my mailing list. So I do give them an offer. When they click onto one of our kids pages, it'll say take $10 off a kids night out party. And then if they click onto the adult classes, I can't remember what the offer is. I think it's probably 10% off a sewing class or something. And then that way, when they sign up, their confirm page gives them a code to use for whatever it is the discount is for. And that has been working really well. I think that I could make the offer a little bit better and probably do better, but for now it's been working. There's also a box. I have an offer, it just says get on our mailing list, and that works pretty well as well. They don't have to go through any of the top menus. It's just sort of a bar at the bottom. So, and I realize that means figuring out how to put it on your website, which can be challenging, but however people are doing it, I can definitely give you suggestions how you might be able to do that. Did anybody have any thoughts on that? Is anybody using anything like that currently? Or even, even if it's not on your website, it could be on your Facebook page, it could be on your Instagram profile link could go to something where people could sign up and get an offer. That's actually something I heard about recently. Having that profile link used for you to go directly somewhere where people can get on your list. I think that's a pretty good idea. I don't think I've implemented it yet, but I had heard that from someone recently and I was like, oh, that sounds like I should do that, and I will someday. Anybody else have any ways that they can think of for getting people to their list?
So this profile link that you were talking about, Megan.
Yeah.
It's Instagram. Take your website. Yeah.
You take them wherever. Yes. So Instagram gives you that one link. It's not really meant, the platform's not meant to take you outside somewhere else. It's just, it's just to look at pretty pictures and know what you do. But they give you that one link, and you can use that link to your advantage. I used to just have it go to, maverydesigns.com. Now I do specific links. So you can change that. Maybe it's maverydesigns.com/Instagram, and it's a page that you've created that that they're going to go, and you have an offer for them to sign up for your mailing list. You have, little explanations of what your Instagram photos are, whatever it is, but it's specific to Instagram so that you can therefore use the information.
Super. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. What are some of the other questions? Okay, I guess the next question is how often do we all feel comfortable sending emails? Lacey on the phone, and we see her blank room.
That's awesome. I love to see it up on the wall.
Look at that embroidery machine. Oh my God.
I would say,
anyway, okay.
Of studios.
How often are you sending them, and what's in the emails? Does anybody want to start that discussion? Joanne, how often are you sending your emails?
I try not to send too many because I feel that if I send too many, they're going to unsubscribe. So it's like I'm not sending emails out every week asking to book a birthday party, or, we're opening the envelope this week, come down and look at it. It's like next week I'm starting the adult classes. So last week I sent a mail shot through MailChimp, Then this week it was like last chance to enroll. But I'm not going to do anything else for the rest of this week. I'm going to leave it. I did put a post out on Facebook about the kids after schools, but I try to do maybe once a week. You know, I don't really tend, even once every week, but I wouldn't email more than once. I don't know, is that wrong, or is it, it's just, I know when I keep getting emails all the time from, I just unsubscribe myself.
Yep.
My personal email address, when I'm getting emails all the time, I unsubscribe, because it kind of gets under my skin. So it's something that I'm sort of conscious of. I don't know, how often do ye, like, am I gauging that correctly, or?
Yeah, I mean, that's about the rule that I use, about once a week. Lately, I used to not be as on top of it, and I think I sent them out a lot less frequently. But then, to be quite honest, once I kind of made a point of doing it once a week, it's really actually helped. And I'm not afraid to send the message more than once. I think like our fall classes for the kids stuff, our studio classes haven't started yet. I sent a message, I think back in the end of August. I think I probably sent one like beginning of September, and I'm probably going to send 2 more before they start. Well, no, I guess they start next week. So I'll probably send at least 1 more. But that same message, although I changed it up in the actual messaging, I sent it a few times, and I find that really does help, because the first 1 or 2 times it's like, oh yeah, that's happening. And then by the third one, it tends to get people to actually sign up. Like, I have a knits class starting tomorrow night. A week ago, I had 1 person in it. I've sent, shamefully, 2 other emails in the last week, and I'm now at 6, and I just capped it off because it's a new class and I don't want to take more than 6. It's crazy to me how like last minute people are with these classes. But it really is, and it's, I think, due to the kind of last minute emails that I've been sending that I'm getting people signed up at the last minute. So I don't know. I while I want to remain like not bugging people and not, not wanting to be on the list, I also feel like they're on my list because they want to be. They can easily subscribe, and they, plenty of people have. I try not to look at my unsubscribe list so my feelings don't get hurt. I don't know if anybody else has done that. I'm always just like, why did they unsubscribe if I know who they are. So I try not to look at that. But yeah, I mean, everybody has the opportunity to unsubscribe as much as they want. But if they like what you do, they're going to stay on your list. They want to know what's going on. They want to, know that you've got cool things happening. So I think it's okay to go a little bit past your comfort zone.
So Megan,
that's my opinion. Yeah.
I am on your list.
Yeah. Okay, tell me what.
I am on your list. So I actually went to your website early on so that I could see what you did and see how you did that.
Yeah.
Try to help me when I got to that point. And I didn't feel like that, like you were sending that email out too much. The one about the knits class, it didn't feel to me, after all the emails that I get from people daily.
Yeah.
It did not feel to me like you were overboard at all.
Okay. That's good to hear. Okay.
So once a week-ish, is that kind of the consensus?
I think so. And as long, and just try to do different messaging. If you've got different things going on, try to do kid stuff one week. If you've got adults, adult stuff the next week, and maybe a birthday party email the following week, and just kind of try to change it up,
Makes sense. I'm kind of on the opposite end. I'm really inconsistent, and I think you're very right that that's really not effective, and it's really random. I've just had other things happening, and so I haven't done a good job yet.
Yeah.
I did to do a little bit better.
I put it in my calendar now because I was so random that on Monday morning I have a little reminder that says email. And what I do is I don't necessarily send it on Monday. I send it whenever because you can schedule it. But just on a Monday, I'll write as many emails as I think are going to go out. And sometimes my emails are to smaller lists. Sometimes they're not going to go to everybody. Maybe I'm just going to send an email to everybody that took after school sewing last year. I can run a report to see who they are, create a list specific to that. So it's not my entire list. And maybe that email is a little bit more personal. Hey, you were with us last spring. We're starting back up. Just wanted to, make sure you got a spot or whatever. Jessie, what do you do?
Right now, since I just reopened, I've sent one out. But my plan was originally to do every 2 weeks. So I might change that to every week. And see how that went. When we were so dating, we did it once a month. So,
once a month?
Once a month.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Or if we had something huge coming up, we did one. But I do want to change it so it's not as inconsistent. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent with everything.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you a personal question? How did you guys split up the list? Did you both get the list?
Well, I just went in and exported it, and I think she's going to go in and export it.
You both have access to it.
Yeah, we both have access. So I figured we both should know how to do that. So we didn't split everything up. We just kept, everybody got everything pretty much. Yeah. And then people can unsubscribe and subscribe if they want to. So we weren't too bad about that.
Cool. Well, that's a whole discussion for another day, but I would love it for you, Jessie did a partnership and kind of extracted herself from a partnership. Both partners are still doing sewing in the same city. Yeah. And have remained friends and remained, obviously I don't know why it happened and it doesn't really matter, but I really admire that. And they did it, I've never talked to Jessie ever before, and we've just been Facebook friends. And I kind of saw it all unfold on Facebook, and I was like, oh man, partners, I've never had a business partnership because it scares the bejesus out of me. I'm kind of a little just to do what I don't know. I just have never thought to do it. And so I saw her doing it, and then I saw them both kind of go their separate ways very positively. So kudos to you. Yeah, that would be an awesome discussion to have, just partnerships versus working on your own.
Can y'all hear me?
Hey, we can hear you, Lacey.
I'm not a tech person at all. So this
all good.
Huge.
It's all good. All right, Lacey, you have to introduce yourself.
I'm Lacey. I'm in Mississippi. Are there people in here I can't see? How many people are with us?
Right now there's 5. We just lost Kathy. I don't know if she had to go. Maybe she'll join us again. But we just lost Kathy.
Okay.
But we've got Caitlin, who you know, Joanne, who you know, me, and Jessie from Ohio.
Jessie. Hello.
So okay, you do some email marketing, I'm guessing, Lacey.
Yes.
Yes.
I use Constant Contact.
Uh-huh.
And forgive me if I've repeat anything. I have a love-hate relationship with Constant Contact. I am not a tech person at all. Mm-hmm. So I have a few templates that are put in there that I like to use. Can y'all see it? That I like to use. And so for me, I just plug. The one thing I like about Constant Contact is you can see who opened it, the percentage of rate, what time of day, who it's going to. The thing I don't like is, and I don't know if it's my email address or if it's something to do with Constant Contact, I do feel like a lot of those go into spam folders. So I don't know if any of y'all have suggestions on any of that, or I don't know, but I will tell you, I don't know where everybody is in their stage, but I really didn't do much marketing this semester. All our classes are full, which is great.
That's awesome.
But I need to be doing more of this because it's, we're getting to the point where we're not new anymore. So anyway, but it's all going really well.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's see. The thing about the spam, and that's been my quest for finding a new email marketing provider, because I would get my own emails would wind up not just in my okay, so just people know the difference in Gmail, that there's now promotions versus your real mail. I separate mine out because I don't want to see all my promotional stuff unless I want to see
Mr. Coupons.
I know. Well, but I look at it, but when I want to look at it. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't get mixed up in all my other mail.
Yeah.
So I've got my promotions folder. So I would send email from MailChimp.
Hold
and
on. I'll be right back.
Sometimes it would wind up in my promotions. I just found an email that I had sent in my spam. And my spam on Gmail is like foreign language emails. Like, it's super spammy. And I found my own email in there. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I was like, I need to do something different. And so I ended up switching over to this platform called ConvertKit, which is pretty technical. I don't know if you want to check it out. I'm loving it. But the thing of it is I've gone from sending like a full-on newsletter to trying to make it more personal and not putting as much photographs in it, not as many images, a straight up like, hi, blah, 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 and talking and making it seem more personal and maybe adding one photograph of the class. And I found that I think it's working. And I know that at least it's going into my regular inbox for the time being. I haven't been doing it a long time. And if it's not going there, it's going into my promotions, I guess. But I just have kind of simple. I used to go nuts and do all these graphics and pictures of my classes, and Gmail just goes, oh, we don't want that. And they shove it into the promotion or the spam, and then nobody can read it. So that for me has been a really big deal. And I think even if you're using Constant Contact or MailChimp, if you lower the amount of images you use in your email, I think the same will happen. I think Gmail will look at it and go, okay, this isn't, so spammy.
What you said is ConvertKit? Is that what it's
ConvertKit. Mm-hmm.
Where do you find that?
Where did I find it?
Like, how do I get that?
Just Google it. Yeah, I think it's convertkit.com.
Okay.
And the other thing is I was reading a little bit about email marketing just before this call, because it's cramming before the test. But something that I do all the time is click here to find out more. And, like that kind of language, Google or Gmail does not like. So don't do that. You can make links out of text, which is fairly simple to do in MailChimp and Constant Contact and anything. But don't use the verbiage, click here, or don't use the verbiage 25% off or any sort of salesy language. They tend to throw you in the promotions and spam if you do that as well. So just try to make it as personal as you can, like you were writing an email to a friend, but like slightly more formal. That's kind of like my rule. Sometimes I'll send promotional emails and I'll end it with like an XO, and then I'm like, okay, no, that's going too far. Although I probably still do it. But so I don't know. That's what I kind of have found that works a little bit better. Anybody else have any? Oh, Kathy's internet went down. Maybe she'll be able to get back on. Anybody else have any kind of tricks for keeping out of the spam filter?
Didn't MailChimp have, I think MailChimp has a way now that you can verify your email if you're using it through Gmail. Because I had that issue where it was telling me that it was like I couldn't send it through Gmail because of some regulations that they switched. So you could send it through Yahoo, you send it through like your webmail, but Gmail was one of the ones that were like, hey, this may not send out and go to your regular folder. So it's basically saying Gmail would be considered spam.
Really?
Yeah, if you look in it just changed probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
That it was, so now you have to go like click verify that you realize that this may or may not happen. So then I set up an email on my website, just admin@needlelincolnthread.com, have it sent through there, but I still have it go to Gmail, but it works. So you just have to switch your email address to an actual web address for your own or Yahoo.
Oh, as opposed to something at gmail.com, you're saying. Oh, okay.
As being your reply to email.
Got it.
But I think most people already have that
again. It's
their
your.
website.
You're saying your reply to does not need to be a Gmail.
Right. If it's a Gmail, it's possibly spam.
Okay.
Is now what MailChimp's looking at it as.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can change that email address to anything as long as you confirm it as one of your sending emails, right? Okay. Right. Okay. Sweet. All right. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Okay. One of the things I guess that I had discovered too is email is the highest return on investment and also the lowest cost per acquisition out of all the paid promotion that you can do. So, it's cheaper to send an email than to pay for a Facebook ad or to pay for paid search. I guess I'm curious, what are other paid sources of advertising that people are using for their classes, or are people using anything?
I had an article written about us in the paper.
Uh-huh.
Y'all, I had nobody in this community class we were doing. I think that's the hardest class. Megan, you'd be a good person to chime in on this, but for me, the hardest ones to fill are the ones outside of schools where parents have to make an effort to get the child there.
Right.
So we went from 0 kids to 4 in 24 hours, and it was free. And all I did was I contacted the city because we were having the class in a city building.
Mm-hmm.
PR person out, took pictures. Now, they called me so fine in a few of the sentences, but other than that, but that was completely free. And, it was pretty good exposure. But, yeah, I'm just not disciplined enough with the regular email routine. Like, I need to get more. But for me, the biggest bang for the buck has been like social media and, these free things that just happen.
Okay. So on social media, so that's kind of PR, which is free, which is, I think, the most amazing, marketing you can do. I think it's a lot of work and it's never guaranteed, but especially if you're starting out, it's a great way to publicize. Have a press release, spend some time accumulating a list of newspapers and outlets and just email them. Try to email them directly, not as like a group email, and use names. I find if you use names wherever you can, they like that rather than dear whoever. But yeah, that's an amazing thing to do. And then, so then as far as paid stuff, Lacey, do you use paid social media? Do you pay for your Facebook stuff?
I do. I don't do a lot of it though, and I'm very targeted. Like if I have a class that's in Madison, Mississippi, if I boost it, or I never do an ad, I always just boost post because I want to drive them to specific. I'm not a brick and mortar store where people can come in at any time and buy things and do things. So I'm promoting specific events. So like if I'm having an event in Madison, I'm targeting, typically women from 18 to whatever. And, in these particular zip codes I'm doing, and I don't filter it as far as interests go because I don't know how that affects my reach.
Right.
But, so far that's been pretty, and I'm always, and this is another thing I learned. When I boost a post, I do it for one day because I don't want my budget. Like if I'm doing $20, if you do over like 4 or 5 days, if you're boosting one post, the post is old by the time your budget is out. So like if I'm doing a post and I want to boost it, I'm boosting it for one day, $20, get it out there. And then at that point, your shared reach is what's going to really gain momentum. So, people I know, I encourage them to share my post so that it's based on some algorithm, and the more sharing and even with the boost, it's going to reach further with that targeted. Am I making sense?
Yeah, totally. Does anybody else use Facebook boosting?
I have.
Kathy's back. Kathy, tell us about your Facebook.
My internet went down.
Oh, I'm glad you're back.
Which is so aggravating. Anyhow, so I just went and rebooted it and hoped it would come back.
It's back.
Yes.
What kind of boosting have you done on Facebook?
I've just had it boost a few of my ads, and I mean, like when I put a class together and I want to kind of share it, and I've paid just little bits. I haven't spent a lot of money doing that, but I have had a class go and put a couple of pictures, and then I just have them boost that within the radius that I would like to pull people from. And believe it or not, I've gotten a lot more exposure than because all of my promoting has basically been through Facebook and through word of mouth, where I got into one school, just one school, one private school, like a week and a half before school was out. And it was a really fun little connection that permitted me to actually, I knew this lady from someplace else, and we had figured out she bought my car after I sold my car. And so we just had this little connection that permitted us to, and what I did, I had a Mercedes that I sold, and she knew my name because there was a paper in my car with my name. And so when I saw her, she went, "Oh, I have your car." And so I went home and got all the papers I had on my car and brought them to her, and it just opened up this really great little rapport. And so then she took flyers for my summer camps. And this is a private school. Okay. And she passed those out for me, and that basically made my summer camps happen. And, yes. And so from there, then when I was posting pictures for my summer camps, then I was posting those on Facebook, and then I started creating other camps and other classes, and it just kind of grew. But I do believe the boosting has helped me to come to the point where I've got 560 something followers on Facebook, and that all basically just happened this summer.
Okay. So I guess my question then is, when you boast the Facebook, are people noticing a jump in signups? Like I found, I don't know, I haven't been, I guess the point is that for me, if I send an email, I'll immediately see a jump in signups. Whereas if I boost a post, and maybe I'm not spending enough money, or maybe I'm not targeting it quite right, or I don't have the right messaging down, it's definitely something that's a work in progress for me, but I don't see the jump. I see people liking the post, and honestly, it's a bunch of people that I'm already friends with or who already like my page. They're getting fed my Facebook stuff, even though they've already, Facebook, whatever, they don't show your post to anybody anymore. But I don't see the jump in class signups like I do in email.
I just have with me, like my email list is a customer I've already acquired.
Right.
So I know they've got interest. I know that they're more likely to participate based on the fact they've already been involved with me in some capacity, because I don't have a running email list. Like they have to have registered with me to be on my list, which that's another issue. Whereas not that I've not been doing this near as long as Megan, but what I have realized is, especially in the schools, there is a natural rate of attrition that happens after Christmas. You are going to lose kids in the spring due to spring sports, financial reasons, anything like that. So for me, my Facebook posts for me are to ensure that I don't lose my customer base because of this natural trait, and this could be regional or whatever, but for us, like there's some families after Christmas, they don't have money for supplemental stuff. So I just know in my mind that I'm going to lose a few kids. So if I'm registering that's when I'm really boosting my post, is when I'm doing spring registration. Okay. So when I'm looking to acquire new business.
Sorry, are you doing it before you reach that period then, or are you doing it when it happens? When are you boosting?
Well, I kind of do it when I need to generate buzz about a specific event, whether it's registration or if I'm having a camp or something like that. I don't do it as a general to acquire. All of my Facebook boost and all of my money toward marketing is driving toward registering for something. Because awareness is great, but it's not going to return any type of money. You know, so anyway, but I'm not the expert, but that's my experience. So anyway.
Okay. Caitlin, what about you?
I've started to do a lot of those Facebook events that you can create, and I think that is working really well. I don't know, and then you can even boost those, and there's something about that looks really legitimate to me when I'm seeing that from other people's posts.
So how do you do that? You're creating events around your different sewing classes?
Yes. So, you know, there's just a little tab on there that says create event, and it's just like a calendar date. There's a link on there. You can send people directly to registration. You can add a photo, and then you can even boost that. And so I think that's really cool. I just started doing that really recently. Some people around here are doing it. So you can't do it for everything. I don't think it's maybe the right thing for classes. Maybe. But special events, it works really well.
So what are you using it for? Oh, like your pizza night thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing. So that if we have, you know, coming up in the holidays, you know, gift making workshops, that kind of thing, single day event is kind of what I'm doing. And I think that works really well. For me, social media is no good whatsoever for classes.
Yeah.
But it's really good for special events. Like I have people PM me on Facebook for birthday parties.
That's awesome.
And so I don't know if it's really working, but I try to stay relevant on Facebook. So I want people to know what we do, and I want people to see that we're always doing stuff. And people really do come for those, you know, those special events and parties. So I just try to.
On those Facebook events, I tried that once, and I had people say they were going, but they never registered, and then they'd show up.
Oh.
So wait, they thought because they registered on Facebook that they paid for it?
Honey, you gotta pay.
Yeah, you
That's
got
funny.
Oh, goodness.
Well,
Doing it
yeah.
long enough to have it.
I could see how that could happen though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
Disaster.
you also kind of run the risk of just like if nobody signs up on Facebook, it's very visible.
Yeah.
Like this glaring, like no one signed up for your event. You know, and to me that's like, oh, you know, I don't want that up there. But it reminded me of a good point. You know, doing some sort of free event and then using the email addresses from that for me has been really helpful. So like, well, for example, like maybe doing a street fair where I'm going to have machines set up so people can try sewing, and you know, I have electricity, they can come, they can try it, and kind of getting a list generated that way. And it's free. It's a lot of work and you don't make any money right then, but you generate the list. And then, yeah, usually around the holiday, I always have, I have like an ornament making open house. So I'll have a 4 to 6 hour window of however much I can handle of free sewing. And you can stop by for an hour, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. But I make sure that everyone that stops by makes an ornament or just stands around or helps their kid or whatever it is, they have to get on my list. And probably because they should be signing a waiver, which I'm really bad about doing. But it's just the rules, you know. You come into my studio, you use my sewing machines, you got to get on my list. Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to get a bunch of names on the list who are obviously interested in what you're doing. And that would be a great way, great thing to promote on Facebook, because it's just a big, wide open audience that isn't necessarily interested in what you do, but then they go, oh wait, it's a free event, I can make an ornament. Then they become interested in what you do, and then you add them to your real list. So yeah, that's awesome.
Well, and you know another thing that I'm doing, so I'm in private schools, but we don't have any access to the email addresses. They don't want me to have any contact with parents whatsoever.
So what do you do?
I mean, I'm a contractor to the school, period. And so they handle signups, they handle contacting the parents about logistics, the whole dang thing.
That's what
So,
it's saying to me.
it's kind of nice in a way because
I love it, but I don't
have access. But this year, I got an email from one school, and they were like, "Hey, we're doing a vendor spotlight. Send me, answer all these questions, send them out." So I sent that, and then I got really bold, and I sort of like asked my other school. I was like, "Hey, are y'all doing anything like this? Because I have a great little write," and they did it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, it felt really uncomfortable to ask that, like, "Hey, do you want to feature me in a newsletter?" But that to me was the only way to get into the parents of the
Well, and
kids.
also tell the student, the schools, like what you provide them. I've got one school that pays for all of their field trips off what they make off me. So they charge me 20%, and it funds the field trips for, I think, 3 grade levels. Like the parents don't have to pay for them.
That is so great that they do that. They don't take the cut; they use it towards field trips.
And that and it can be used for their discretion. But when I go in and I pitch and I say, look, this school has been able to use the amount of revenue generated by me to fund programs that are not coming out of parents' pockets or that wouldn't be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then what I do is I say, if I pay for use of space, I require a list of all of my contact information for liability reasons. I said, I've got to have a number for that parent. If they sew their finger, then I can call them.
Yeah.
Really, I want that email address. But
oh, that's genius.
and they'll send me, because I've got one school that does all the registration in-house, and he'll send me an Excel list every semester of all my families.
Wow.
I would definitely ask for that, for sure.
And I tried with one of my schools, and they've got it locked tight. They're like, if you need anything, like, we cover you, so you're not even liable. And I can't even. I couldn't get in there. But
I was just
Send a flyer home with the kids.
say what?
Can you send a flyer home with the kids if they bring it back the next week?
Ooh, I tried that too. They were like, you don't need to send anything. I sent the medical waiver, and then I sent this form, the photo release form. And the photo release one was the only one that they took last semester. And then this semester they were like, we sent your photo release for you. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know. I don't know why they're so funny about it. They're really protective. They don't want me to bug the parents. You know what I mean? They don't know what I'm going to do.
What school is it?
Parish.
Oh, well.
I can tell you, I heard a recent story, this private school that I was able to get flyers into. Apparently, some of these schools are very protective. Some of the students' families are very protective of their kids, and that's probably why they're not letting you do that. Because there's a gal that I work with, and she babysits for this family, and she had to sign a contract that she wouldn't say their names or who they are or anything, and that child goes to school at this private school. Yeah. So there's probably a whole piece there.
I found that, it goes both ways. I think it doesn't hurt to ask. And if you're getting, shut down, you're getting shut down, because I have schools that, they don't want me to send anything home. And then I have other schools that aren't paying attention to it, and, I guess I wouldn't advise just doing it and not asking, but I have a feeling there are some schools that would let you. Hey, so I guess Joanne and Jesse, do either of you guys teach in the schools? Because I feel like we're talking about that a lot right now, and I was just curious if you guys are doing it.
I teach at Rosewood, which is an art center in Kettering. So I'm doing a fall and a winter course for them. And I've contacted, or actually one of the libraries contacted me in Beaver Creek, asking if I could do a whole series for kids and adults. And they pay me. Because the first question was, is this volunteer or is this paid? And they said paid, of course. So I haven't tried to get into the actual school system yet, just because I've been open for a little less than a month. But we did have some kids coming to the shop when we were still dating as the schools. But we would open up early, and it would be like kindergarten or pre-K, and they would do like a little hand stitching thing, and then they would be gone before the shop opened. So we would open up like an hour before, and they'd come in, do a 45-minute project, and then they would be bused back home. And then that was always free.
Gotcha. What about you, Joanne? You're not doing anything in the schools yet, right?
No, that's what I'm working on at the moment. I've just literally finished my letters, and I'm just going to send out a letter. We have like 106 primary schools, we call them here. But, the difference between me and you guys really is that we don't have any private schools. So all of our schools are the same. So you have public schools. Of course, you have, socially deprived areas. but we don't have private schools, so we would have certain pockets where schools will be, you know, a little bit, I suppose, socially deprived, I suppose. But, you know, there's 106 schools that I'm sending letters out at the moment to try and, you know, create a relationship with them. But the hardest thing to do is to get into one school. So for me, that's going to be the challenge. And I think when I get into one, I'm hoping that, like, you know, the kids will tell their friends who are in another school, and it might start to grow from there. But I did have an invitation last week actually to present at the Parents' Council AGM meeting next week at a school. So they picked 2 vendors to come in and talk about their business. So, you know, it's really for parents who, you know, are looking for after school activities so that their kids will come privately to me to the studio. But I'm hoping that the school, because the school principal will be there and the teachers, I'm hoping that they will see me as well, and hopefully I can get into the school, bring my machines in there and deliver the after schools classes in the school as well. So at least I have one meeting coming up. But I think it's going to be difficult to get in, but once I get in, I think then it'll grow legs, because I don't have competition here. Like, there is literally nobody else doing this where I am in my town. So I am so lucky I don't have any competition. So it's really new, and it's, you know, dynamic and fresh and vibrant, and it's something that I hope that everybody else will think the same, that it is fresh and new. And, you know, so we'll see. I'll keep you posted on how I'm getting on schools.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Just to kind of bring it back to email, it's been great because we've been talking about some different things, and I think that we can use that for future calls and have like discussions about, you know, certain topics. But we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions regarding email and how to do it better, and, you know, maybe a problem that they're having, or anything they want to just last minute discuss? Lacey?
What is a good, I'm just not disciplined enough with like sending things regularly. What types of communication should I be sending, and how often?
I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but when we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the call, I have found that the rule that I read about a lot and that I am finding works is slightly more than your comfort zone. So like, if you think, all right, I'm doing one every 2 weeks, go slightly more often and you'll have better results, and commit to doing it regularly. Whatever.
I feel like I'm just doing it to promote registration. That's it.
Right. You need to, I think, in some way have consistency. And I had said this before. I have an email reminder in my calendar that says email marketing on Monday. I sit there and I look and see what's coming up, and I write an email or 2 based on that, and I schedule them accordingly. It doesn't have to go out the minute I write it, but because I'm just consistently doing it, it's getting done. People expect to hear from me. If people think it's too much or they don't want it, you know, like, there's nothing I can do about that. They have the right to unsubscribe. I unsubscribe to things like crazy. So, I mean, I get it, but I also stay subscribed to the things I want to hear. So I think whatever you think is comfortable for you, do it slightly more, not a ton more, and try to vary your message, but try to do it a little bit more consistently.
So Megan, do you do a general email, like upcoming calendar with, you know, your upcoming events on the same mail, or do you separate every event out?
For the most part, I try to separate things out. I think if you've got too much going on in one email, it's too much. And I know that I have an objective when I send an email. It's usually to get signups for a certain thing. So I try to make it about that, and maybe adding one other thing that's not quite as important, but just in case you're not hitting the person with the first thing, you got another thing that might interest somebody. But more than 2, I tend to not do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Megan?
Yeah.
Do you see a drop off also in your participation after the holidays?
I don't personally, but you know what? I think I think a lot of it has to do with climate. People are just stuck in the house around here after Christmas, and everyone has, there aren't sports for us. People don't do winter sports here. My biggest competition is the fall. Every kid plays soccer around here. So January is probably one of my highest, my revenue is the highest, because parents are like, what are we going to do with our kid for the next 3 months when we can't go outside? So I tend to have a spike in business at that time of the year. But again, I think it's climate wise, whereas Mississippi, it's a little warmer. People are still going outside at that time.
Can I just ask you, Megan, when do you start marketing for your January classes? So like, I'm thinking, okay, if I do it before Christmas, they're all saving for Christmas. Do they have the money to for January? When is the right time, and when do you start? Do you start like the second week of January, or do you leave it till like the last week of January to give them the month to subscribe and enroll? Or what do you do?
Couple things. I try to start it not right after the new year, so you've got a little bit of time to market. And second, I try to start even before the holiday, because sometimes it can be a holiday gift that someone will sign their child up for sewing classes. And I think it's okay. And the other thing that I've started doing is I sort of have the attitude that if they're enrolled in the fall, they're just going to re-enroll. And I kind of, especially the ones where it's at my studio and I have contact with the parents, I'm just sort of like, well, we'll save your spot for, when we start up again in January. And then obviously they can let me know different. But even if I've not gotten the check from them, if I've gotten a verbal or an email that says, oh yeah, we're re-enrolling, I'll put them on the list. And just know that maybe they won't show up. But for the most part, if you kind of have that attitude and there's, they're not having an issue with the class, they're going to re-enroll. They want to keep going.
My deal, though, is our classes, we run 12 to 14 weeks. So at my schools. So if I don't market in December, I don't have enough time when those kids get back to school the first week in January to fill my class. So I definitely market in December, but my sessions run 12 to 14 weeks. So it's a little bit different.
Called assume the sale.
Yeah, totally. Is that like a real thing?
It actually is. So Megan knows this, but and maybe Caitlin, but I actually am the manager of the alterations department at our local David's Bridal.
Oh wow!
So I work a full-time job and trying to not do that so that I can do all of this. But so I do hear that is an actual term that we use, is assume the sale.
And it works. It really does. I don't ever want to offend anybody or make them feel like they're somehow doing something that they don't want to do. But it is a safe assumption. Unless they've had a problem, with the class, you would assume that they would just continue. So awesome.
And it also shows a point of confidence and of who you are, what you're doing. Yes. That's all part of that.
Totally agree with that. Okay.
So can I just have another question then before you go? Just on the workshop. So I was thinking of starting Saturday morning workshops, like Sew an Owl workshop, where kids that missed out on summer camp can come in on a Saturday morning for like 3 hours and sew an owl. So, they're all mad to sew Hootie the Owl, every one of them. But when do you market for that? So do you give like a month's notice, or do you think that would fill a class? These are the little things that me as a startup, I'm sort of having trouble trying to gauge timing and what is going to be effective.
So it's just a one-off class for you, just like a one Saturday?
I might start doing like one a month. So I don't know whether like a month is enough time, like to actually market it through Facebook and like newspaper adverts and, fill it up, or what do you
This could be a whole conversation in itself, but I find one-off classes for me are a lot of work marketing, and you can't make I just feel like you spend a lot of time getting the bodies to be in the people in the seats, and then it's over. And then you're like, oh God, I have to figure out the next thing. So I've really moved over to weekly sessions for almost everything I do. I run a Sewing Machine Basics, which is a 2-hour learn how to sew, and I run a 2-hour hem and button. And right now, those are my only 2-hour classes. I run them pretty regularly, but they're made to funnel people into my weekly classes where they have to commit to 5 to 6 weeks of a class. And it doesn't make any sense because it's a higher investment, but I find I don't know what it is. It's people say, well, I'm going to learn how to sew, so I better invest in it, and then I'll show up at those classes and get my money's worth. I can get those filled more than I can get a 2-hour, $40 class. And so I've moved over to practically only that. And same goes for the kids. Aside from a Friday night pizza and sewing where you can get dropped off, they're all weekly things. They're not just one-off things because you spend a lot of time marketing and then it's over.
Okay.
That's my experience. All right, guys. So I think we're going to end the call. This has been awesome. I love doing this. I'm so happy that you all joined me and I didn't have to talk to myself for an hour. It's way more fun talking to all of you. So I did record it. I'm going to put the recording up. I'll send it out. People can watch it on their leisure, or you guys can go back. Lacey, you can watch the beginning. Whatever. What?
I have to take a shower next time if you record this.
No, nobody has to take a shower. We're all friends. We can just show up. I did put a little lipstick on today for all of you, but yeah, let's keep doing this. I've got the schedule up there for future dates. Hopefully, yeah, we can keep the momentum going. If you know anybody that might be into joining us, let them know. And I guess that's it. Thank you all for coming. This has been really fun. Great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know how to turn it off.